this is Tammy Cromer-Campbell coming to you from TCC Photo Gallery in downtown Longview, Texas at 207 North Center Street and on the web at tccphotogallery.com. Thank you so much for listening today. Today's podcast is titled Remembering Ruth Bernhard. Ruth Bernhard was a master photographer and a gifted teacher, and she was 101 years young when she passed away December 18, 2006 in San Francisco. I have set up a phone number so people can call in and leave recorded audio memorials about Ruth, and I will put them together as a podcast and post it on YouTube and iTunes. So if you want to participate, you may call 214-989-3916. I'll keep the number available for everybody until July of 2007. I want to tell you a little bit about how I got to know Ruth Bernhard. In 1990, my husband and I took a workshop in the Southwest with John Sexton and Ray McSavany. And my husband was more interested in the landscape than I was, but I took it anyway because I thought I still could pick up some good tips on printing and stuff like that. So at the time I was working on a body of work which was photographing a pregnant nude draped in gauze that I titled Milagro. Once John and Ray saw the work, they said, "You need to show this work to Ruth Bernhard or take one of her workshops." That stuck with me, and so whenever I left the workshop, I immediately started researching Ruth Bernhard and found her book and even sent her a birthday card that year. My husband and I then took the workshop that John Sexton and Ruth Bernhard put together in Carmel Valley at John's studio, and it was titled The Gift of the Commonplace, and it truly felt like a gift to be in her presence. She is so connected to the universe. Besides her being a master photographer and gifted teacher, she was just a really, truly extraordinary person. I remained in contact with Ruth Bernhard through the years, and then in 1995, Deborah Heimerdinger of the Vision Gallery came up with a brilliant idea of holding a 90th birthday party for Ruth and to invite Ruth's students to give Ruth a photographic birthday wish. I decided to send something that resembled her work, but of course had a unique twist, and I photographed my dog Imogene kind of in the box, and that's what I titled it. Imogene kind of in the box horizontal and Imogene kind of in the box vertical. And on the front of the card it had "Today's the day," because that was one of the handouts that she gave her students, which I had over my desk at the time to remind me of that wonderful time there in Carmel. But I think that those photographs of my dog also touched her heart and is why she agreed to also teach a workshop in Longview, Texas with Michael Kenna at the Longview Museum of Fine Arts and an exhibition. I had convinced her and Michael to do so, and it was really a very unique experience. We had students from all over the country come to the workshop, and we also had curators and gallery directors come from all over the state to see the show, and it was really a fabulous time. So I will miss Ruth Bernhard, and if you would like to leave a message memorial for Ruth, please do so by calling 214-989-3916, and I'll be happy to post it as a podcast. Ansel Adams once said that Ruth Bernhard was the greatest photographer of the nude. So here's to the greatest photographer of the nude, Ruth Bernhard. My next guest is Mary Ann Lynch.
This is Mary Ann Lynch in Greenfield Center, recalling my first experience with Ruth Bernhard. The year was 1978, and I was a struggling photographer and also publisher of an independent photography journal called Combinations. Our third issue contained an interview with Ruth done by John and Patricia Mercer. Ruth had graciously allowed us to run several photographs, including her fabulous crushed teapot as our cover image. After Ruth received her issue, she wrote me a note telling me that while the magazine was very nice, it would have been much better if we had used a different font for the cover, where we had announced featuring an interview with Ruth Bernhard. We had chosen a rather clunky, bold type that proclaimed in no uncertain terms the importance of the interview. Far better, she wrote, would have been to use the font that her father had developed, Bernhard Modern, and of course she was exactly right. That she had taken the time to pass on this advice in so direct a manner felt like, on some level, she had admitted me to her world. This written exchange with her fortified my resolve to keep going and improving, and deepened my already enormous respect for her and her work. She not only produced great art, but she also followed through on its life in the world. Years later, when in 2004 the John Stevenson Gallery was preparing the Ruth Bernhard show, 50 Images, celebrating the artist's 100th birthday, I told this story to John. He was at that very moment designing the announcement. He instantly decided to use Bernhard as the font. I was very pleased that the advice Ruth had given me as a fledgling should have come full circle and been able to impact a watershed exhibit. And I was delighted to discover that Crushed Teapot was among the 50 images selected for the show. Perhaps my sense of appropriate font 3 decades before had been lacking, but my ability to recognize a master work was already honed. So once more, inadvertently, Madame Bernhard had touched my artistic spirit.